Welcome back from a bit of an extended holiday. Obviously, I did have some computer difficulties, so we did have to miss the last couple of weeks. But we're back, and as you can see, Baxter's wearing maroon, I'm wearing blue. It's one of the greatest times of the year away from the grand final. It's State of Origin. Baxter, before we jump into the lineups, obviously the New South Wales squad, it has changed a fair bit. The Queensland squad, there's been a few shuffles in who's starting, who's going to the bench. But talk to me, mate. You excited to be back, excited for Origin? How you been going?
I'm excited to be back. Been over in Bali, just chilling with whatever team's on bye that weekend. And look, there hasn't been much of a build-up for Origin for me, really. Like when the teams got announced, that was pretty good on that Monday morning. But there's not been much build-up. I don't know if it's just me being outside, being an outsider or something. It just hasn't had that Origin feel. Maybe it'll be different game 2, game 3, or given that this one's in Adelaide. So I don't know. What about your thoughts?
Well, I mean, Nico Howard said he hated you people when he plays against you, and that fired me up. And that was 4 weeks ago. So I do agree. It hasn't felt like years past where we've been going. We're really excited. Origin coming. Origin's 2 weeks away. Origin's 1 week away. It's like, okay, the teams are about to get selected. We're excited. Okay, Origin's on. Let's see how it goes. But I think come tomorrow night, by the time you're listening to this podcast, we're probably less than 12 hours away from Origin. I think we're going to be a lot more G'd up. As they say, mate versus mate, state versus state, Queensland versus New South Wales in Adelaide. That's a debate for another day if it should stay in Queensland. But Baxter, before we jump into the team list, red light, green light, we know how it works. Red light, green light, should Origin stay in New South Wales and Queensland alone?
I think it's a green light. It should stay in the 2 states. I know the state of South Australia is spending about $3 million to have this game in there. It goes towards wherever it goes to, but I think it does need to stay in the 2 states.
Yeah, 100%, especially if rumours are true. I'm sure they'll give away a lot of tickets. They'll do a massive push and it will sell out, but as of this stage, it's not a sellout for game 1. So probably one of the biggest spectacles, bar the grand final. You've got the 3 State of Origin games. For that not to sell out, I think that's a sign that maybe Adelaide's not the right push. Let's keep it in New South Wales and Queensland. One team gets 2 1 year. They get 1 the following year. It evens up over a 2-year period. But Baxter, I'll throw it across to you. Let's pop them up on the screen. Talk to me about your Queensland side.
Yeah, we've got the Reece Walsh in the fullback role, Sabin Cobbo and Murray Talangai in the wing position, Valentine Holmes and the Hammer in the centres, Cameron Munster, Daly Cherry Evans are your halves pairing, Tom Flegler, Lindsay Collins in the forward prop role, Ben Hunt to be the starting 9, David Fafita recalls back into the squad with Tom Gilbert in the second row, Pat Carrigan, Pretty Boy in the lock position, Harry Grant, Big Tina, Ruben Cotter, Jai Ara, and round out your interchangement with Tom Dearden as the 18th man at the moment, with Kristen Welsh being 19th man as backup. And excuse me, it's a good strong side. A lot of these players I had picked in my 1 to 19 already, with a few moving around positional wise, but when the teams got named and I was at work and one of the guys was there like, why did you pick Reece Walsh and why didn't you pick Dan Gagai? And I think Gagai was more of a performance based, and given what we know now, there is no Latrell Mitchell. I think he may have been called into the squad over Hammer, but at the time Latrell was named, so Hammer got the jump on there, and Reece Walsh, for obvious reason, Kalaponga goes down in that little hit. So it's all precautionary for him. So nothing bad against this Queensland side. Nothing negative. So I reckon they're going to go out and do a job well done for us boys.
Well, let's have a look at the New South Wales side before we do get our predictions on this game. You've got obviously James Tedesco, Brian To'o, Stephen Crichton coming in, like you mentioned, for the injured Latrell Mitchell. You got Tom Trbojevic, Josh Addo-Carr, the half partners of Jerome Luai and Nathan Cleary, the debutant of Tavita Pengai Jr., Api Coruscant, and 9, Payne Haas, Tyson Frizzell, Hudson Young, and Isaiah Yeo rounding out the lock, with Junior Paulo, Cameron Murray, Liam Martin, and Nico Hines on the bench. And you've got Matt Burton as the 18th man with Big Stefano as your 19th man. Now, on paper, on how these players have been going form-wise, there's probably a few selections here. It could have been like, let's be honest, we have this debate about Tedesco versus Dylan Edwards. If you're going purely on form, Dylan Edwards is in this team. But you do have to take into account there's club-level players and then there's origin-level players. And I think every single time Tedesco's put on the Blues jersey, he has performed. So I guess it's his jersey to lose. The same thing with Tom Trbojevic, the same thing with Josh Addo-Carr. We saw what we did last year when we didn't select a fit Addo-Carr coming off injury. It probably cost us a series in the end. And I think even you as a Queenslander can say, if we have Josh Addo-Carr, we probably blow you away in game 3. And we're not talking about how Freddie Fittler lost 2 of the last 3 unlosable seasons. So I guess my question to you, Queensland, it's picked purely on some players that might be out of form, but probably 95% form players. New South Wales, they've gone to that old Queensland motto where it's loyalty and then some players in form. Pick your pair. How do you see this game going? Where do you see this game being won, whether it's Queensland winning, which I'm sure that's who you're going to side with? Where do you think this battle's won? Is it in the forwards? Is it in the back line? Is it in the halves? Who wins this game and why?
Yeah, you talk about in form, and I had that same conversation with that same person at work, and he was saying New South Wales should always pick on form, and I said, well, then if that's the case, Appy's out, Cook's in. And he said, yeah, no problems. I said, oh, well, his big problem was Luai in and not Hines. I said, oh, okay, fair enough. I said, well, if that's the case, then Teddy's out, Dylan Edwards in, and he hands up in the air like, oh, this is the worst thing in the world. I said, well, it is, if you go on form, that's how it is, but James Tedesco is probably our Dane Gay guy. He at the moment he's clubland and maybe player performance-wise is not the best, but when he gets on that not even sky blue jersey for this game, but when he puts on that jersey, he goes to another level. And as you said, it is his to lose. He is the captain. Regardless of that, he does perform. I think the worst game you've seen a Teddy in a Sky Blues jersey was probably a 7.5 out of 10, and that's probably knocking down a few pegs myself. But I think it's more in the forwards. It's going to be one in the first 25 minutes. You got Junior there as well, a way of Payne Haas. It's just they've been rolling through the middle. They're just going to be tucking the balls under. Don't worry about playing the ball. That's why Isaiah, there's why Cleary, Luai, that's their main job. Haas, Junior, Frizzy, Young, just tuck the ball under and you just run as hard as you can, 6-7 meters, whatever it is you need to get. But I think it's going to be one in the forward pack in that first 25 minutes. Whoever gets the roll-on effect, I think will have the better start in the second half and will control the game.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. I think this game is won in that forward battles. Now, for New South Wales, let's start with Queensland. You've got Lindsay Collins. He's been there before. You've got Carrigan. He's going to do a job. You've got Flegler. He's going to do a job. I look towards New South Wales. Tavita Pengai Jr. It was probably that one name that when these teams were named, everyone was like, how the fuck did he get in this squad?
I wasn't, you know what? I wasn't shocked when his name was called.
Yeah, but
I wasn't shocked.
You talk about picking on form. There's about 17 forwards ahead of him if you were to pick on form for this New South Wales side. But what it does do is we don't have what happened to Matt Burton when there's a punch on and no one runs in. Tavita Pengai Jr. will put someone on their ass before he lets someone touch their teammate. Hudson Young, he's an absolute redhead. He'll go in there. He'll destroy someone. Tyson Frizzell, he's not afraid to get into the biff. So when I talk about players that probably aren't at the level at the moment, but they're origin players, these are the kind of players that can now set the foundations for New South Wales. And let's be completely honest, Payne Haas, he's been probably the best number 10 in the game all year. He needs to show that. He needs to show that he's going to dominate Lindsay Collins. He's going to dominate Fafita. He's going to get in there. He's going to get down. He's going to get dirty. And let, like you said, the Api Korosaus, the Clearys, the Cameron Murrays off the bench, the Isaiah Yo's do the job. Because if he does it, Daly Cherry Evans, Ben Hunt, Cameron Munster, they're going to pull our pants down and they're going to embarrass us again. But let me chuck on a quick stat for you before you do give your prediction. The Tom Trbojevic effect. 2015, didn't play, New South Wales lost. 2016, didn't play, New South Wales lost. 2017, didn't play, New South Wales lost. 2018, he did play, New South Wales won. 2019, he did play, New South Wales won. 2020, he didn't play, New South Wales lost. 2021, he did play, we won. 2022, he didn't play, we lost. So can one man control a game that much? Is Tom Trbojevic, yes, coming off an injury, but is he that X factor that New South Wales need? And then give me your prediction on game one.
I don't think it's the person. I think it's the position. You need, like, I talk about, for us, it was Greg Inglis. He was that bloke that, 70 minutes in the game, 75th minute in the game, when there was a loose ball. I think I remember clearly, like they've been playing for 75 minutes. A loose ball goes out behind, I think, one of the Morris brothers. Inglis picks it up and runs 90 metres down the field and scores a try. And for me, I think that's Tommy, but in the position, it could be Latrell. I don't think it's him himself, him personally, which it could be. We'll have to see overall this series, but I think it's more the position. I think you need a strong you need to sort of carry the aura that Latrell brings. Like everybody, you just know what Latrell is going to do. Like the performance-wise, he's going to bring, not the arrogance, but the confidence that he brings. I think him in that position is really, really good.
Just because you did bring up a good point then, so let's talk about it while we're on it. Latrell Mitchell, as a Queenslander, are you happy that he's out? Are you concerned? What's your take on Stephen Crichton replacing Latrell Mitchell as a Queenslander?
Well, news broke that I just saw on the phone, or actually from someone else, and it was like, all I got was Blue Star out, and I was like, it's either Haas or Tommy, given that they're the only two that have really come into this camp with an injury cloud sort of thing. Obviously, the Haas with the ankle thing, but he's right to go. And then Tommy, obviously, with his hammies. But then when the news came in on Latrell, I was sort of a bit unusual because, it was like the last session, did Freddie push the session a little bit longer? Rumors were that they finished the sessions, he went for scans, they packed their bags, and then they jumped on the plane. Did Freddie push that session a little bit too far? Should he have dialed it back a little bit, knowing that they were going on the plane, they were going to transfer from New South Wales to Adelaide? I'm not too concerned because, Stephen Crichton comes in. Obviously, that's another Penrith player to link up and with Brian To'o. But, yeah, I'm not concerned at all. I think if it was Tommy out, Stephen Crichton in, I think it'd be a more threatening approach because obviously they were going to line up Josh Hadakar with Latrell and Tommy with Brian To'o. And if Tommy went out, then Stephen comes in, and you got that two amazing wing center combos on either side. So it's one of those ones where I don't even look at it, and I'm not too fussed, but we'll just have to see how the game pans out. And I'll probably tell you at 10 p.m. on tomorrow night how I feel about it.
Yeah, I think obviously Stephen Crichton coming into his squad, what it does give New South Wales is that side of Brighton To'o and Stephen Crichton. For years, it's been probably one of the best defensive sides on any team in the NRL. So to have them in Origin, working off Cleary, working off Luai, yes, Api Korosaus moved on, but like you said, combinations. This image that I've made here was actually from the NRL Grand Final. It was so easy to make the New South Wales side because of how many players were playing for Penrith. at that current time. But combinations wins Origin, and you know what? The understanding between Brian Toto and Stephen Crichton could be the difference in a key moment where they take someone over the sideline rather than letting them score. So it both has its benefits. I think in attack, you want Latrell Mitchell there. In defense, you're okay having Stephen Crichton there. So Baxter, before we do jump into round 14, because we are here for this as well, give me a prediction on this match, 1 to 12, 13 plus.
Obviously, I'm siding with my state, and I'm going to go a nice tight scoreline of 1 to 12. I don't see this blowing out too much, maybe 20 to 12, maybe 20 to 16, but it's going to be nice and tight.
Yeah, I think I'm going to have to side with you in the 1 to 12, but I do think New South Wales get the result here. I'm not going to back against my own boys, but as we've seen, Origin 1 lays the foundation. It's going to be tight. There's usually not a lot of points. I don't want to say always, but usually there is not a lot of points in these games. So if you're going to have a bet, pick a team, take the unders, gamble responsibly. You're probably going to get a result. But Baxter's gone 1 to 12 Queensland. I've gone 1 to 12 New South Wales. Baxter, before we move into round 14, any closing remarks on the Queensland side?
No, we're just talking about all New South Wales. It's just humming for us. No combos. We're just.
You know what? Actually, I've got a question for you. Actually, before we move on, who would you have going in favourites to this game? Take away everything outside, obviously betting agencies and all that. Who have you got going in favourite to this game?
Well, you've asked me after the fact that I've brought up the odds favourite, but like obviously Queensland have got to be the favourite team because they're the defending champs. So they should be favourites. But I've seen the betting line at Sportsbet, not a plug, but should be a plug. New South Wales are $1.80 while Queensland are $2. So again, it's nice and tight, but how is New South Wales favourites when they lost last season? So make it on what you will.
You know what? I'll fucking take it. I'll take the underdog story. You said we're underdogs even though we're the favourites. I'll take the underdog story and we'll have a bit of fun. But Baxter, obviously, good luck with this one. Just remember, win or lose, you have to wake up in New South Wales. So don't be too happy either way. But